Hi, everybody, and welcome in. This is our Unit 5 assignment review, logic model illustration. This assignment is part 5 of 7 of your public health plan, which will be due, as you know, in Unit 7, so you do not need to include parts 1 through 4 with this submission. However, make sure you are adding in that feedback I have been giving you guys. It's really important, okay? Here's the overall assignment info. I just want to go over this really quickly. The first thing you want to do is start with your APA template. Make sure you download it. Make sure you use it. I cannot accept any Python documents, so I can't accept anything that has been downloaded from the internet. It must come from your Word program, okay? If you go into the internet and you start downloading things, with non-human authors, I cannot accept that because it has been created someplace else by someone who is not you or something who is not you, okay? Also be careful with copying and pasting things into your documents, okay? AI has a very interesting way of having a very large tell. It tells me every single time someone is trying to copy and paste something, or every time someone is trying to download something from the internet and use it as if it were their own. AI embeds itself into your work, and I am very easily able to find that. And of course, we can't accept it if it's not your original work. So please make sure it's your original work. Okay, and you could do that by just simply using the template that you're supposed to be using that is right here. So your illustration should use a combination of colors and appropriate design elements. Remember, you're creating a logic model illustrating your public health plan. You could have text boxes, arrows, etc. You can use smart art, etc. If you download the template, and again, it's just a matter of really downloading it very quickly and opening it up, you're going to notice that it has everything you really need in it. All you have to do is get rid of the stock information and put your information in there, okay? Enable editing, of course. All right, so when you're doing your illustration, you could add smart art if you would like, and to do that, you would just insert smart art, and you could do it that way, or you can insert your text boxes on their own, or however you want to do it, okay? All right, very good. So start with your APA template. So your illustration should use a combination of colors and appropriate design elements, include as much detail as possible. You may create additional space in your model, for example, a text box with only one key point to notate areas you will expand upon later. Include the following components: inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, impacts, assumptions, and contextual factors. You may create this logic model in any program, PowerPoint, Word, Publisher. See how it sticks to Microsoft Office. You do want to probably do that. Again, you want to make sure that you don't have a non-human author of your work. And your submission must be in this Word document, okay? If you use PowerPoint to create it, that's fine. You can either save your file as an image and insert it into your Word document, or, and I'm going to show you this, just copy and paste the image into your Word document, okay? Makes it much easier. Alrighty, so we are going to take a look at your PowerPoint that I made for you, and I just did this cool little design here on this first one. So assignment overview. What you are building in this assignment is not just a diagram, it's a structured visual representation of your entire public health plan. So you're going to think of this as a blueprint that shows how your program works from start to finish. Again, it's a part of your larger Unit 7 project, so what you create here is going to carry forward. That means it needs to be correct, detailed, and something you can build upon later. At a level 5, I should be able to look at your logic model and immediately understand what your program is, how it operates, and what outcome it is designed to achieve. If I can't follow it visually, I can't give you a 5. So it needs to be appropriate. So how do we get it there? Let's take a deeper dive into how we get it there. To reach level 5, your logic model must be both complete and clear. Complete means every required component is present. Clear means that the reader can follow the flow without confusion. You are not just listing items here, you are showing relationships. Your model should demonstrate how inputs lead to activities, how activities lead to outputs, and how those outputs lead to outcomes, and the long-term impact. Design matters here. If your model looks cluttered, disconnected, or difficult to follow, it will not meet the level 5, even if all components are technically present. So here are your required components. There are 7 of them. Missing one will automatically drop you below a level 5. So those components are inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes and impacts, assumptions, and contextual factors. Students often forget assumptions and contextual factors. This is one of the fastest way to lose points. Each of these needs to be clearly labeled and visually distinct within your model. Inputs are what your program starts with. These are your resources, okay? This includes funding, staff, partnerships, materials, and infrastructure. At a level 5, you are specific. Do not say staff. Instead, say community health nurses or health educators. You must be specific. Your input should clearly align with your program. I should be able to look at them and understand the kind of intervention you are planning. Activities are what your program actually does. These are your interventions, your services, your actions. Examples might include health education workshops, screenings, outreach programs, or case management. At a level 5, your activities directly connect to your inputs. If I cannot see how your resources support your activities, your model is not fully developed. Outputs are direct, immediate results of your activities, okay? These are measurable and countable. Examples include the number of participants served, number of workshops conducted, or, for example, the number of screenings completed. A common mistake is confusing outputs with outcomes. Outputs are immediate results. Outcomes are changes that happen because of those results. So you must note that. Outputs are immediate results. Outcomes are changes that happen because of those results, okay? Outcomes are changes that result from your program. These are typically short-term or mid-term. Examples include improved knowledge, behavior changes, or better disease management. At a level 5, you are connecting your outputs to these outcomes clearly. You are showing cause and effect, not just listing ideas. Impacts are the long-term big picture results. So this is where you show your program affects population health over time. Examples include reduced disease rates, improved quality of life, or decreased healthcare costs. Strong submissions clearly distinguish between outcomes and impacts. Outcomes are immediate changes. Impacts are long-term transformations. Assumptions are what you believe to be true for your program to work. These are often overlooked, but they are required. For example, you may assume that participants will attend sessions, that funding will remain stable, or that community partners will stay engaged. At a level 5, these are thoughtful and realistic, not generic statements. Contextual factors are external influences that can affect your program. These include policy changes, socioeconomic conditions, cultural factors, or access to transportation. This is where you show awareness of the real-world environment that your program actually operates in. Strong work here demonstrates critical thinking about barriers and facilitators. Design is not optional in this assignment. It's part of your grading criteria. You need to use arrows or flow indicators to show direction. Your layout should be organized, typically left to right or top to bottom. Spacing matters. If your model is overcrowded, it becomes difficult to read and loses clarity. At a level 5, your model looks professional and intentional. This is where you demonstrate your understanding is in the analysis expectations. Your model should show logical progression. Inputs lead to activities, activities lead to outputs, outputs lead to outcomes and impacts. If any connection feels unclear or forced, this is where points get lost. Everything should connect in a way that makes sense both visually and conceptually. Even though this is a visual assignment, it is within an APA style paper. So it does need to be an APA style paper, meaning you need to create your visual either in Word itself or in PowerPoint and then copy and paste it into Word. And you need to build an APA style paper around it. So you have a title page, you have a reference page with references, you have 3 sources at a minimum. If you have sources, you need in-text citations. If you need in-text citations, that tells us that we need paragraphs. So you're going to have an intro. You're going to have introduction. Then you're going to have your visual, because this is a paper. Then you're going to have paragraphs explaining visual. And you're going to spell paragraphs correctly, hopefully. Then you're going to have a conclusion. Then you're going to have your reference page. Then you're going to have all of the in-text citations that you would need in order to show us where that information was used. So in-text citations should be incorporated into your paper where appropriate. All right. Missing APA elements will prevent you from getting a level 5, and I don't want to see that. The most common issue I see is missing components, especially assumptions and contextual factors. Another major issue is lack of detail. If your boxes contain 1 or 2 vague words, this is not a level 5. Students also struggle with organization. If your model does not flow clearly, it becomes difficult to follow. Finally, missing citations will also cost you points. So what you want to do is make sure that your visual is very clear, but also that you follow it up with paragraphs that explain it really, really well. Because there's only so many words you could put in a visual, and you wouldn't want to have complete sentences in your visual because that doesn't make any sense. Your visual has to be something that we could look at very quickly to get the point, and then you're explaining it in your paragraphs. Here is what a level 5 looks like. It's complete, detailed, it's visually clear, every component is present and thoughtfully developed. The model shows clear connections between all sections. It's easy to follow, professionally presented, fully aligned with the rubric, and you're writing it in the form of an APA style paper, okay? Here's what your references will generally look like. This is the APA indent you see here. So the first line is always left aligned. Every additional line of that same citation or reference is indented. And then the next author is left aligned and then indented, next author is left aligned and then indented, etc. Okay? All right, guys. Well, I hope this helped you. This has been your Unit 5 assignment, Logic Model Illustration Walkthrough. Have a great day.